What's up, Marcia?
Hello, this is Marcia.
Yeah, okay.
That did not sound like Marcia.
Yeah, that's scary. That's a scary voice. Well, I don't think she's on, so she can't make.
No,
say-
she is. She's just muted. She likes to mute herself.
That would be nice. It's the best type of. No, gotta be good.
That is awesome.
So before you start, that
Yes.
was interesting. The challenge with your son there, that was funny.
Oh, toenails?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's, it's better that than handguns, I guess, or something.
That would be true, right? Better that than handguns. I agree. I concur. Robbie, I like it. I like the sketchiness. That is awesome. In the hood. You guys are awesome. Anything you guys want to go over since no one else is on yet? You want to head over anything else?
Well, I mean, Marcia just gave me, I'm adding up, I think it's 38, with the letters for that we did. So I'm just going to put in there, mailed off this amount after we hang up here. 38 calls I'm going to make by the end of the week. I mean, today's what, Friday, Thursday?
Thursday.
I forget it. It is Thursday, right?
Yeah, it's Thursday.
I don't know.
When do you think is the best time to contact people via phone?
Generally between 8 and 7 and 7:30 and probably 9, and then 5 and 7:30, something like that, or 8.
Okay, so during the day, most people are working, so by calling at that time, you're pretty much setting yourself up for you're not going to get to talk to anybody.
Yeah, but the times I gave you are when people are kind of getting ready for work or they just got home from work.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yep, that's generally how it works. You also get a lot more angry, why are you bothering me during dinner time, that kind of thing too, but whatever.
So there's really no better time when they're not rushing to get to work or dead tired from work, coming home and having to make dinner.
You can try weekends. You can try weekends. But then I don't know. That's what I've always had the most success, and most people prospect during those times, morning and evening.
Okay. I kind of hate to call on Sundays because you never know when someone's religious or
Yeah, but I mean Saturday's usually not an issue. You can try that.
Okay, we'll do.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
All right, let me see if I can get out of this.
Who's that? Oh, God. Oh, that was Mario with the oh, lovely greenery there, Mario.
There you go. Now it's a little better.
It's always
That's
better
the
with
bird.
you, sir.
Oh. Damn, do I look good with my goatee? Just look
You
at that.
always look good, Mario. Don't let
I know, I do that. I mean, that is incredibly, lucky I'm humble.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody said to me the other day, I said, so all you got on my Facebook Live was that I switched from a beard to a goatee, and I still look over to the whiteness. I said, why don't I block you and have a nice day? I love you.
Oh, Lord. All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. Well, at least I got the number. It was 160, but it was 158 at that time. I was like, oh, my God, that's all you could think of.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
That's awesome.
So you were saying, and then you got cut off. So you do like the idea, Nick, or you didn't like the idea, or you were saying something about when we were talking about the idea of talking to the neighbors and also putting a proposal because, you know, it offends other people. And like you said, we're always solution providers, so we want to show them that we care. Were you saying you were talking and we got disconnected?
Yeah.
You remember that part of the conversation?
No, absolutely. Well, the neighbors part for sure. So you had two different things you were saying. Number one, pull over, you go to the neighbor, find out any information you can get on the former owner. I loved your script with the, you know, turning it around and making sure they give you information, or else you're going to put some terrible person in there.
Yeah. Well, don't blame me. I always say, don't blame me. You had a chance to put input in there.
That is true. I love that. I also loved your options that you give to sellers, right? That was the other one with the
that was the one I was curious.
Go ahead and for the recording, go ahead and tell them what you give to the sellers so that you can tell them words.
Well, I mean, you know, again, you want to give your posture and your whole idea is you want to make sure that they realize that you're not lowballing, but you actually care, but you also have to make money. And I said, do you want to feed your kids? And they go, yeah, well, we have to feed our kids. We're here to create a win-win-win situation. So what I say to them is, I'm going to give you a couple different options and how we got to that, Marsha, my partner and I, because we want to show you enough respect, but we want to also show you that we're going to make money. So, you know, full disclosure and, you know, I forget the English word where, you know, people realize that you're not hiding behind anything, no smoke and mirrors. So I say to them, here's how we came up. Option one, we're going to give you the full price, but we had a guy come in with us and evaluate, and he said it's $50,000 of, you know, repair value. So we have to reduce that. You have to fix that up, and then we'll give you the full amount. Second option is we can handle that, but, you know, it's an estimate of $50,000. We're going to throw in 65 just to play it safe because we need an extra 10,000 cushion because we haven't opened up, and we'll take the responsibility on it, and therefore we can only offer you 65 less than what you're asking. And then the third is a compromise in between. Which one would you like to do? And by saying which one would you like to do, it gives an air confidence that we already, you know, posturing that we already intended to buy it and that they were already agreed psychologically. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, you know, they say, oh, wow. And they've always thanked me because they said, most of the guys just throw me a figure and then, you know, it's insulting. You at least explain how you got to it. So
100%.
That's pretty much the way.
100% agree with you. I will also, I like your way of doing it even better than what I'm going to show on this call, which is our seller net sheet.
Okay.
Pull it up here. Because I'm getting so good at technology, I can even pull this up and maybe even share my own screen. Oh, boy.
Nice. Marsha's able to pull up the screen and chew gum at the same time. So it's pretty awesome.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So
Nice.
That was awesome.
All right. Yep, I've got one here. Let's see if I can bang through this here. Okay. Share screen. I'm going to share. Tell me if you guys can see me after I do this. You see my screen here?
It says starting to show the screen. Now we see the screen. Yep.
Fabulous. All right, cool.
Yeah.
This is our seller offer comparison net sheet. We actually took some of this from, we had one before, and we liked Justin Silverio's a little bit better, so I took elements from his and put it into this one as well to give him full credit. But this is essentially how you would, you know, measure an as-is sale. The middle, I won't go over the middle columns just yet. That's sort of an add-on thing, but here's our offer. If we're looking at this the way a seller typically looks at it, I'm going to hide these. So this is how a seller would look at it. And
so you do that spreadsheet, or do you do it on a letterhead?
This one, so they do get a letter as well. With this, I'm usually, if I'm giving them this though, I'm presenting it to them usually face to face. This means I've seen the property or I've looked at the property online and I have a seller appointment. So I'm now going to go out to them and make them an offer. And with this offer, I will also be bringing them this so they can see how we got to the offer. Now this
Okay, got you.
this is almost the cover page of this Excel sheet because it actually keeps going. This is the rehab budget.
Mm-hmm.
So this actually shows them exactly how we get to our construction value. We'll go, obviously if we've gone out to the property, we've assigned numbers to these items. So we come back here, we plug it into the system. This is if we're not closing them at the appointment. If their motivation level is less than a 7, what we'll try to do is come back, within 24 hours, put this in and give them these 3 documents along with an offer to purchase their property. But this is how they see, so they can see along with us how much it will cost us to bring their property to an after repair value, essentially, appliances, that sort of thing. And once they see this, it then plugs right into here, so they know how our offer goes. This is if they list it on MLS as is, right? And these are just made up numbers. This is an address. These are made up numbers. We had one recently that was a lot closer than this. We had one, let's see, I'm thinking of Topsfield. We had one in Topsfield that was an as-is sale, I believe, of $310. And then our offer to her was $260. So you can see here, and in this particular case, I cleared out these closing costs. So we tell sellers, right? We'll pay one of our perks is, no realtor commissions, ease of flexibility. We'll close on your time frame. You don't have to worry about cleaning anything out or repairing anything or open houses or not dealing with contingencies. One thing we say is we'll also pay your closing costs, typically except for back taxes or seller side of the stamp tax. So we keep that in here on the approximate closing costs, but in this case, we took it right out. We just said, hey, Wilson, we'll cover that for you. So essentially, she was going to be netting about $260 if we paid all closing costs. And here's how this works. This takes into the real estate commission if they were to pay a realtor. It does take into account, which in this market, they're getting close to market, 98 to 100% of list price. So that's this number right here. And they take away their commission. Average days on market. Now, this is 2 months on market. So roughly we have 2 to 3 weeks of market time before an offer comes in, and then another 45 days to close. That's 60 days. Average repair costs, which is in case they had to spruce up the place or fix some holes or whatever they needed to do for the buyer's inspection, and then the closing costs that they'd have to pay. So if you see it, we were fairly close on this one. 260, 275, based on if they were listed on the open market. And in my cover letter to her, I said, I understand, obviously, we have to make a profit. We're investors. Our goal, though, is to make things easy and to take advantage of the efficiencies in the real estate market. And one of those inefficiencies we found is the whole process of open houses and mortgage brokers and this and that. Like, if you want to deal with us, we're happy to close on your time frame. You can take what you want, your emotional and financial valuables, and we'll take care of your clean out. We'll take care of anything else you would have left behind. Do you need help finding a place to live? Oh, we can help you there too, right? Do you need help do you need help with an organizer? So all of those things, are they worth 15 grand? That's really on her, but it's also on us to try to build that value up, right? So she might say, yeah, I can list it and go through all this pain of sprucing up the property and trying to hire a realtor and going through the open houses and the offers that come in, the finance contingencies. What's FHA mean? Are they going to close? How do I know the inspection is not going to knock off another $10,000 off the price with a septic fail or whatever it would be? Or they just deal with us, right? Simple as is cash sale. And that's what this sort of dictates to them. And this shows them the numbers. So by the time they see this sheet, I've already done my job telling them the differences between a retail sale versus an investor sale, right? That's my job to tell them the difference and to build up that value. So that's this sheet here. I'm wondering if I can find my net sheet itself or my cover letter. Actually, this one didn't have, this one was a face-to-face. So I printed this off and I had an offer prepared, and I did email all this to them, but I was hoping, she and I had a good rapport, so I was kind of hoping to meet with her in person. But to be honest, since this, sharing your pain, guys, like since this happened, even though I nailed that appointment, that seller appointment, like she loved me in that appointment. We connected on so many different levels, and she was not open to me coming over. She, I don't want any salespeople. I don't want this and that. So when she met me, and I just kind of played the gentle contractor as I walked through, she, she was divorced. She had a friend of hers in Illinois that sold to an investor and had a good experience. So she was just interested. All I wanted was a cash offer. That's all I want. That's all I want. Give me that offer and leave. But at the end of that walkthrough, and I was able to do my rehab estimate while talking to her and building rapport and that sort of thing. It worked really, really well. But that said, following up with her over the weekend, she says she has a family member coming in to make an offer on it. And I told her straight up, I said, I love that you have that coming in. I probably can't compete with that offer, but just to let you know, I'm still here with whatever you need, right? So the frustration level builds because we invested all this time and energy into the sale. But for us and for you, Mario and Marcia, to think about, it's all about where's the next deal, right? Where's the next deal? What's the next deal? And if I keep following up with her, because I have to keep reminding myself in my CRM to follow up with her every 2 days, if I keep doing that, something's going to happen. She's either going to tell me, no, I accept another offer, or, hey, I really had a good time with you and I'm accepting another offer. Or, you know what? The other offer, I tried it, and 30 days later, I tried that other offer. It doesn't seem like their financing is going to go through. Is yours still available? Right? One of the three things is going to happen.
Now, Nick, on that question there, do you, if that offer and she comes back in 30 days, do you say, well, you know what? It costs a little more money, so we're going to have to reduce it another 5, or do you keep it the same?
It depends on the market.
You have a case.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In this market, typically, and I had the rapport built with her already, so I wouldn't do that to her. If she came back to me in 3 months, yes, the market has changed, right? Or maybe there's a risk in market. But here's the thing. If she comes back to me in 3 months, East Boston, for example, our deal in East Boston. We talked to the seller, and we had a signed contract at $475,000 for a 3-family in East Boston, right? Killer deal. This is now 1.5 years, 2 years ago, right? Long story short, they literally illegally kicked us out of that sale, brought in a different buyer who was higher. We could have sued and all that, but we didn't do it. Of course, we don't do that stuff. We try not to. And 7, 8, 10 months later, I forget if it was Rob who was like, hey, that deal never closed. Like, you should follow up with them. And now that was my bad. It wasn't in my CRM to follow up because I assumed we had lost it to this other buyer.
Yeah.
And we followed up. And turns out the other buyer was having some issues with the terms and the closing of getting it closed. So I followed back up with the sellers. I said, hey, guys, I'm still here. But this is the opposite. We waited 8 months to follow up, and now we have the opportunity to get it back in the sale. What happens to the price, though, in 2015 or 2016 in East Boston after waiting 8 months? It skyrocketed, right? So we were able to come up on our price, but they expected us to come up on our price. And we ended up getting that one, I think, done for $575, I believe correctly. So $100,000. Plus, there were now more issues with a tenant. But that just depends on the market. So that one, we came up on price after waiting 8 months. And in a market that's a declining market, we will go down on price if it's, depending on how fast it's declining. If it's 1 month, typically we'll hold our offer good for 1 month. If it's 3 months, well, now we should talk. Good question, though.
Yeah, because to me, I always say, we pride ourselves in solving your problems and telling all the little nuances that, you want a good night's sleep, go with us. You want to wonder all night and all day, go with them, kind of thing. So yeah, all right.
Yep, that's a good take on it. I like that.
Nice.
Bloop. And I'm back.
Oh, good.
I know you're worried.
I was very worried.
Good.
Now, question on this: when I go and canvas, as I call it canvassing, it probably ages me, or door knocking, whatever you want to call it. Is there any violations in the local for the Massachusetts versus New York? I mean, I can walk into New York and talk to anybody, and offer them suggestions and cleaning up the area. I'm not violating by saying, when I have that spiel and I say to them, you can pick your neighbor now versus, because I usually try to find a pain. They'll tell me, oh, the dog there. Well, why don't you pick a neighbor that, this new neighbor that's not going to have dogs, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So Rob, I'm not in any violation by talking like that to them, right? No coercion.
Legal advice. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. Okay. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, you can't obviously mention anything about gender, race, religion, anything like
Right.
that.
All that. Yeah. I never talk about that.
Yeah, sexual preference is a protected class in Massachusetts, so it's all that stuff, And honestly, that does come up, which is it's kind of
Really?
crazy. We've had it come up. And you
Wow.
have to be like, okay, most of the time you just ignore it and kind of politely move on. But they are technically, if they say something like that to you, they are technically discriminating at that point. So
Gotcha.
you don't want to get too involved with that. But the whole thing, like the dog, you're probably fine there, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I try to find out what their pain point is.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, how successful have you gotten where the neighbor has? When I was doing that in New York, I would get half, 50-50. Somebody in the neighborhood would want somebody. They already had somebody in mind.
Yeah.
I even had people who actually sold their house to go to the house that they, was being sold.
Yep. That's great.
But
I mean, obviously, if you're having that sort of success, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. Those are amazing numbers.
Well, I just want to make sure. Well, that was in the '90s, it was a big difference.
Right.
And I was wearing a Jets jacket so that everybody loved me. But
just go buy a Patriots hat and a Red Sox jacket.
Oh yeah, that would kill me. I'd probably go into convulsions. All right, cool. Marcia, do you have a question? I know you had your hand up.
Mario has muted himself.
Are you muted? Unmute her.
Well, I muted me. I let Marcia talk.
Yeah, she's muted though. LOL, Mario would never wear it. She's yeah. Okay. Hello? Marcia? Muted again.
Well, here's the question then on it, just so you know, accountability. Marcia and I took the mailing list. It's 37 return out of the last 2 mailings here I have.
Yep.
So I will commit to calling them, and I'll put that, I'm just going to roughly say it's 280 mailings, 37 were returned. We visited 12 of them, and I'm going to commit to making phone calls to all 37.
Yes.
That's what you would like me to put on the accountability group, right?
Yeah, put it all on there. Put it all on there. Put what you got going on now and what you plan to do next week, and a bunch of.
So then I'll have that done as soon as we hang up. Yep.
That's awesome. You know who is lucky? Let me pull up my calendar here. Someone's lucky they did not show on this Zoom meeting. Because let's see what we had in here for we had a check-in with Erie Springer on his direct mail launch.
Oh man.
Erie Springer was supposed to have gotten his direct mail up and running by actually last week. And this was our check-in with him. He is not on the call today, I've noticed. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but Erie's not here. So we're just trying to find out what's going on with Erie and if he's getting his direct mail out.
Yes.
Should we rag on him? Never mind. He's not here. We'll let him go. That's okay. Mario and Marcia always get their direct mail out.
Always.
She's diligent about it with the hearts and flowers and the different colors. It's really nice. Next you'll be flower power.
Brilliant. I wonder if that does. I've never actually measured that on a response rate for a mailer on the hearts and the exclamation points and flowers and whatnot.
I guess. I mean, I would just, write it on a letter, typewriter or something like that. I mean, a processor. She does it handwritten, so she does a good job. I mean, I think psychologically it brings people. They feel warm and fuzzy. Then they meet me and they feel even more warm and fuzzy.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
One thing, where do you put the notes? Like if you talk to somebody on the Excel spreadsheet, I was trying to figure out because it seems like I run over. It's more of a Excel spreadsheet rhetorical question. You know how you put the comments and then it just keeps coming over and over and over?
Yeah.
How do is there, like I put in, spoke to them on June 5th, then spoke to them June 7th, left a voice message. Spoke to them on June 9th, and they said that we set up an appointment for the next day. Followed up with them, we put an offer in. How do you make it so that you can see that in one thing? Because I'm finding it frustrating, not.
I see. You can you can change the width of the columns, but then you're going to be missing, pick one of those, like maybe the address or the town or the state, and you can shorten that one up so you can see it. I know it's frustrating. You can, I leave that for the last column just because, that can go on for a long time if you keep, my code was LWTC, left word to call, left word to call, left word to call. And then finally, SA, set appointment. You know what I mean? Set appointment, whatever date that is. And it does
because Marcia and I felt when I was commuting back to New York, my problem was I want Marcia to be able to read this and know, even if we don't talk, she should be able to read the notes and know exactly where I left off on the person.
Yes, absolutely. That's the point. Correct.
I mean, you should be able to, first time seeing it, looking at it as our mentor, you and Rob should be able to look at it and say, oh, I understand their thinking, and be able to read it. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yes. Yep, and as Marcia just said, Marcia, I agree with, Marcia just gave a tip for those not able to read the chat. She said, I was told by a bulk mailing company that white letters have a better response rate, which is interesting to me because most letters are white. So I would say, I don't know, that's interesting, but if that's what she was told. And she said to that, what we just discussed, she said that's what a CRM is for. She's correct on the CRM side. Excel is phase one, right? Now you guys have a CRM, so it's really just a matter of time before you guys pick one and settle on one that you prefer, and that will be what keeps you bringing you guys to say, set up my direct mail, get it out today. This lead, if it's a lead response, then you're like, okay, call this guy, left word to call this day, and then you hit the next button, and it goes right to the next person that need to be called that day, right? So that in that particular case, you keep setting up the next date. So when you just log into that system, it shows you all the people you got to call that day. That's
the other Rob. I mean, Nick is Fiverr. The guys can set up a little CRM program if you really want it on Fiverr.
No, you
I've been experimenting.
Podio's free. Use that.
Which one?
Podio.
Really?
Podio.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Podio.com. You can take a look. That might take a little bit of setup work, but honestly, there's so many YouTube videos out there. Check if you guys wanted to set that up. I would say getting a free account at Podio and then just checking videos out. How do I set this up as a real estate investor? And there's going to be tons and tons of YouTube videos showing you guys how you can kind of roughly start and get going. But that said, you can get eaten up by that. You can get completely swallowed up in months and months at a time trying to set up the Podio CRM. So if you do it, just make sure you time block only 4 hours a week to handle the CRM setup. And if you get more than that, then you're going to lose out on calling your leads or mailing your leads.
You can set it up very, very quickly to do basic things. You can set it all completely up in an hour if you just watch the YouTube videos.
Yeah, set it up, and again, once we make enough money, let somebody else delegate that to a high school senior.
What's going to
Once
happen?
it gets-
Well, no, I mean they're not going to be able. They're not really going to be able. It's not that. You actually need a coder to do like automations and stuff. What I'm talking about is
Gotcha.
if you're going to set up just a very basic. I call this person on this day, and then follow up in 2 days or something. It's very easy to set that up. If you're trying to do automated text messages through it and that kind of thing, then yeah, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, but the foundation, like you said, Rob, the foundation's worth it because once you get really busy, it's automated.
I would not try to build an automated CRM yourself, is what I'm saying. And the problem is it would be hard to find somebody to build it for you.
From two guys who have tried to do that, Mario, take it from us. It's very, very, very difficult. And we've even tried hiring people, and it still was very, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right, cool. Anything else from you guys? Small meeting today.
Yeah.
I think Erie was afraid of us, so we know that he's just never going to log in again because he's afraid of accountability. That's okay. We don't blame you, Erie.
Well, I think we missed what's his name? On was getting on for like several weeks in a row, and nobody was here, so he stopped coming.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Was he interesting? Huh?
Well, we could go on the Facebook chat and say, "Wow, it was a great party today."
Hey, I'll appreciate that, Mario. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Then for replay, leave a case of beer, gift certificate, like a bottle of wine.
Yep. Bottle of wine and throw it. Make sure you put your address in there so people just know exactly where to market to you. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, the last thing is you guys have some program coming up. Is it in July?
We do. Yep. So
You might want to throw that in and mention it.
Sure. No, I appreciate that. Yep. So we have a few things coming up. What we have coming up, let me pull up the calendar here. The next few events, we have we have our meetup, our rehab meetup at it's our 6th rehab project. We're finally selling 1 or 2 of these things. We hope, knock on wood. Our next meetup is on Wednesday, June 27th. At our rehab at 26 Byam Road in Chelmsford. That's BYAM. 26 Byam Road in Chelmsford, 6 to 8 p.m. on the 27th. We'd love to have you there. That's an information-based networking event where we kind of go through all of the elements of the deal, how we found it, how we got the deal, the challenges with the deal so far, if there's any construction challenges, change orders. You get to see all of our numbers on the analysis as well as the construction work. So those are good meetups. We try to meet some good people there. We do bring beer and wine and some snacks and stuff. So it's a good chance to meet the team. We'd love to see people there. And as Mario, as you mentioned, we do have an all-day workshop. One of the things, we had done this a couple of years ago or a few years ago at this point, and so we had been asked to kind of bring this back. And we did a full day on a Saturday where we spend a few hours in a classroom in the morning going over, essentially, it's not deal flow related, it's more contractor and rehab related. So we go over a few hours in the morning of how to attract and manage your contractors and your projects, and how to keep yourself safe, and then kind of an intro to pricing. And then after we leave the classroom, we then go out to see 3 different projects, whether they're our projects or preferably ones that are on market or even off market deals, where we analyze and price. We teach everyone how to properly do a quick price analysis on these deals so that they know roughly what construction work are there, or if it's a full gut rehab, we'll go over kind of how to do a full in-depth construction budget. And then we follow it up with a scope of work. We start doing a scope of work towards the end so people know exactly how to do that and how to set those up for their contractors. It's good for wholesalers because they're going to learn. It's good for both wholesalers, primarily rehabbers. Wholesalers it's good for because they can then learn the pricing models and construction pricing model that their rehabbers are using. And for rehabbers specifically, this is going to really teach you how to be properly managing your communication, your crews, and your projects for the best chance of success on these rehab projects, especially now when you can't find any good crews. Most of them are either backed up months and months and months, or they're not good, and you find one that tries to take you for all you're worth. So that's that's July 21st. If anyone's interested in that program, feel free to go to the website www.shutupanddouit.biz. Shutupanddouit.biz is where you can go and you can see and reserve your spot. We can only take 15 people. I think we're down to maybe 8 left. We really just announced it. We haven't sent out any emails or anything for it yet. So Deal Flow people get a special incentive. Feel free to email the office if you're already a complete Deal Flow graduate or current student. And we'd love to see anybody who wants to show up there. So that is that promo. Thank you thanks for the lead in on that, Mario.
My pleasure.
And I think that's it for today. Rob, do you have any good final words of advice or encouragement for all the people listening, the thousands and thousands, millions and millions? That was an old wrestling. No one got that reference. Never mind. I knew that.
Talking about
WWF.
Millions and millions.
The thousands in attendance and the millions watching at home.
You're the best.
Jets.
Absolutely.
Thank you for getting that.
No, of course. Of course. No, I don't really have anything. Just, shut up and do it. Get a deal.
Shut up and do it, get a deal. That's right. That's for both Mario and Marcia, but it's for a lot of people out there. Make those calls, send out those mailers. That is all the direct marketing you need to do. Now, that's granted you've already set up your business, right? So by setting up the business, setting up the calendars, getting your contact databases all set up together, learning how to start building your network, getting your indirect marketing set up. And once you've set all of those processes up, then it's time to hit those phones, hit those mailers, whether you're using a service or you're doing it on your own. The only way you're going to get a constant stream of deal flow is by outbound reaching to sellers. That's it. There's no other way. So take it from somebody who's lost the deal flow, having relied only on wholesalers for a couple of years. And when those wholesalers either become rehabbers or they just fall out of the business, I was left with nothing. So I learned, got my systems back up and running, and thus was born the complete deal flow system based on what I learned from before. So love you guys. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your day, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Oh, boy.
Have a great one, everybody. Bye.
See you guys.
See you later, guys.